What's up, guys? I am doing week 2, days 3, 4, and 5 in this video for math. Starting off on day 3, which one doesn't belong? Choose a square in the picture that you don't think belongs with the rest. Explain why, and can you pick another square and give a different reason? Go ahead and pick a reason as to why each of the squares might not belong with the other squares. Okay, we've all done this one in class before. Adding multiple decimals, use the digits 0 to 9, at most one time each, to fill in the boxes so that the sum is as close to 10 as possible. So, we have our decimals here, and we want to use 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in any of these boxes, but only once, and we want to get it to 10. So this all equals 10. Or it is close to 10. So I'm going to go with a wavy line, which means maybe almost 10. Okay? So go ahead and plug and chug those numbers in. See what you can come up with. I would start off with the whole numbers first and see what that would take you to be close to 10. As close to 10 as you can get it. And then go with the decimals. Alright, product. Product, the solution to a multiplication problem. So a trash bin has a capacity of 50 gallons. What percentage of its capacity is each of the following? So, we're trying to find the percent. So, 5 gallons, 5 of 50 is what percentage? 30 of 50 is what percentage? 45 of 50 is what percentage? And 100 of 50 is what percentage? Nice. So blank percent, so X percent of 50 equals 5. So we know what of means. To multiply. Great. I'm going to put a star. This is multiplication and this is variable. Okay? And that's percent. So what percent of 50 equals 5? So remember when we solve these, we're going to do this to get the variable by itself. So then we have X percent we can just write X. X equals 5 divided by 50 equals 0.1. And to make it a percent, we move the decimal over 2 spaces to the right. So 1, 2, put it here. And we fill the blank spot with a 0. And we get 10. Other ways you can make a percent is you can multiply the decimal by 100. So you can do 100 times 0.1, and you would get 10. Same thing with here. This is 10. So X equals 10%. So you're going to use that thought logic, this equation, to solve the rest of them. Moving on, day 4. Puzzle. If you arrange all 5 of the tiles below to make the statements in both boxes true, which box must the tile 3 be in? Wait, note, product is a result of multiplication. We all know that. So Wyatt, the product of my 2 tiles is odd. This is important, it's odd. In Xandra, the product of my 3 tiles, this is 2 tiles, this is 3 tiles, is smaller than the product of y its tiles. Okay, so you're going to have to plug in numbers, multiply them, and see what you come up with to figure out which 2 goes where and which 2 Wyatt has and which 3 Xandra has. And ultimately, the last part of the problem, the one you're trying to find out, is which box must the tile 3 be in, right? It might look like this is just what you're trying to solve, but you'll always need to go back and see what the question is actually asking you to do. Visual pattern. Below is a pattern of cars in stages 1 to 3. Draw what you think stage 4 might look like. Draw or describe what you think 10 might look like. Label how many cars are in each stage, and write an equation to describe the relationship between the stage number N and the number of cars C. So I think we had one of these last week, but since you got your packets late, you might not have been able to solve it. So I've labeled them for you. The first stage has 2 cars, the second stage has 5, and the third stage has 8. So maybe you can already see a pattern that's growing. I can see a pattern, something that is happening. So in stage 4, if we were to put it right here, so I can see that the first column of cars, so in stage 1, has 2. So 1 times 2 equals 2. Or I can say there are groups of 1 cars. Okay, if we go to 2, there's 2 groups of 2 cars. 2 groups of 1, 2 groups of 2, 2 groups of 3. So what do we think is going to be in the first row of cars? I would say there'd be 2 groups of 4. So C, 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 C. So there's 1 group. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 groups. Right? So there should be 8 total here because 4 times 2 is 8. And then we go on to the second column. There's none. And then there's 1. And then there's 2. So then I'm going to assume that there would be 3 in this one if I'm going by a pattern. So 3. So that's what I think stage 4 might look like. How would you think stage 10 might look like going off of the logic that we just did? Label how many cars are in each stage. So you're just going to count the cars up like I did and put a label on it. And then you're going to write an equation. Using N and C. Person's practice. Noah raised $54 to support the animal shelter, which is 60% of his fundraising goal. Write an equation to represent the situation. I will tell you to go back and look at the percent problem we've already done with the gallons and see how we wrote those problems out. Same thing with the next one. A crew has paved 3/4 of a mile of road. If they have completed 50% of the work, how long is the road they are paving? Moving on to day 5. Percent of 20% of A is 11. What is A? We did this in April. Make your equations. 20%. Changing this to a decimal. 20% of is times A is A equals 11, and you're going to solve that by getting A by itself. So you're going to want to divide by 0.20. So 11 divided by 0.20 is something, and that's what you're going to do. Expressions. Here's a list of expressions. Find any pairs of expressions that are equivalent. So what two expressions are equivalent or equal? If you get stuck, try reasoning with diagrams. Over to you. last one, puzzle. What is the value of the last row? Some of my favorite problems to solve. You're trying to figure out what each book represents. So by looking at the first equation, I can see that 3 of these blue books equals 21, and I know that 3 times 7 equals 21. So a blue book would be equal to 7. And this is where you have to really watch yourself, because I see 2 blue books here and 2 blue books here. So then we got to figure out how many 2 yellow books equal. So you are going to have to plug and chug and remember your order of operations, right? So you're not going to add these 2 first. You're going to multiply, because multiplication comes before addition. So if it helps to put parentheses in there, you can, just so you have a visual of which you're going to do first. So then you know that 7 and 7 is 14, so 14 times something plus 14 is going to equal your 238. So how would you solve that? Alright? And then you're going to go through, and your ultimate goal is to figure out what this question mark is equal to. So plug in numbers, plug and chug. Alright, I will be on the math help sessions this week. So they are still at noon, and I will see you then if you have questions.